Welcome back to the Popular Man Podcast. I'm your host, Jay. With me today, I have my always loyal co-host, Cord. What's up, Cord?
How you been? How you been? Chaos is a ladder. Shout out to that boy NLE Chakra on fire bending with my melanin. Do you see it? I am harnessing heat energy, my brothers.
How long has he been setting up for that? Like, did anybody else see him in the corner setting up for that?
A minute.
Is that whiskey?
Yeah, that's a bottle of whiskey. That's a bottle of whiskey.
It's whiskey counter. Whiskey counter.
Wait, is whiskey and tobacco? Is that what that says?
Cord.
Yes,
Cord. We can talk about this.
Cord. Okay, so for those who are not watching this on YouTube, Cord has a whiskey and tobacco scented candle.
It smells amazing.
This nigga
I got like 10 of them.
Individually, neither one of those things smell good. So
hey, man,
they
I
smell
got
like combined.
whiskey and tobacco. I got brandy and cigars. I got blueberry brandy, patchouli. Come on now.
Where do you get these
Man
candles?
candles.
Where you get it from?
Walgreens. Mandles. Walgreens. Man candles. Mandles.
I feel like you get cancer from.
But shout out to NLE Chakra though.
All right.
So,
Also with us today, we have the main man, DeLon. What's up, DeLon?
how y'all doing, fellas? It has been decided that next year we will bring back the Romp Him Revolution. Not the action, the clothing brand. We're bringing back the rompers for men, and we're going to mobilize. We're going to get together. We're going to go into 2021 strong.
Hey.
DeLon,
You are definitely going to be mobile in that romper. I'm not going to hold you. You are going to be mobile in that romper.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you what, a couple of those rompers I saw when that fad came out were actually kind of fire, but I just could never see myself actually.
They were kind of fire.
There was heat. I'm giving me a nice white summer romper. Romp Him. Head to Tampa.
I'm with y'all when y'all right. Y'all just not right today.
He said,
I ain't got the legs for it. Also join us today. We got the number one Suns fan in the nation. We got Cam with us. What's up, Cam?
And y'all already know what it is. Suns Nation. I still haven't gotten the podcast shirt yet, but we on the way.
It's on the way. It's in the mail. Everybody else has gotten their shirt, so it's definitely on its way.
No. I just haven't bought it. No,
you haven't bought it?
For those watching, it's not an issue of shipping. I just haven't paid for it.
As you see, we hold everybody accountable.
It be like this sometimes.
Nobody gets a handout around here. But you know what we do? We give our takes on basketball, music, and everything in between. This is episode 110 of the Popular Demand Podcast. The only announcement we have is we're selling shirts. Follow us on Twitter at Podcast Demand. If you follow us on Twitter, or you don't have to follow us on Twitter, just DM us on Twitter and tell us the color of the shirt you want. The shirts are currently $22.50. That includes shipping. So $22.50 for your shirt.
If you live in the United States.
If you live in the United States, which I don't think we have any international fans.
We had somebody buy one from Canada, and it was only PayPal accessible, and it was a headache. But we appreciate you, whoever that was.
Wow.
We got you. If you're still listening, big shout outs.
Hey.
Not take cash out in Canada. Does not do Venmo. Only do PayPal.
So, like I said, we got shirts.
Man, pray for Toronto though. Y'all fought hard.
They did fall. They fought a good fight, and we're going to talk about their core. But before we get into basketball, I want to talk about a little bit
except for the man.
I want to talk to you guys about what y'all listened to in August. So we were supposed to on this last podcast episode, but we kind of ran out of time because we were talking about forever about the other stuff we were talking about. So we're going to do an August roundup where each of us talk about what we listened to the most in the month of August. DeLon, what were you bumping last month?
Man, that was a good question. I feel like what quarter are we in? The third quarter? The third quarter of 2020 has been the quarter of comebacks. This month, which I'm sure we'll talk about at a later date, Conway just put out an amazing album. First good album in like years for me. We got a great comeback album from Big Sean, says the people on this podcast. Last month, I was fixated with the comeback album from Logic and the comeback EP from Vic Mensa.
Yes.
Both of those, ace, good production, good subject matter, best rapping I've heard from them in a long time. Vic Mensa got about 4 joints on there. I play still, I think I leave 1 or 2 off. And that whole Logic, we just let it ride, no skips.
Don't forget Nas. Nas came back in the month of August as well.
And Nas.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's facts.
Let's see. in the month of August, I really
was gonna
did
leave him out on purpose. I see it. I see the agenda.
I really enjoyed Vic Mensa's project. I wasn't sure what to expect. He's been pretty much all over the place since not Internet Tape. Yeah, pretty much since those singles he released after Internet Tape. No.
Yeah.
The autobiography was solid. It
when
just
the EDM wave
was like the intro single was talking about beating on his girlfriend and like
and like fighting in the kitchen. Like since the autobiography
in the kitchen, I think what?
Since the autobiography, he's been a bit like just everywhere, and it's been hard to just really put a finger on who Vic Mensa is. I don't even think he really knew who he is. Hence him like having this whole identity switch with his music and even just like the way he dressed and the way he presents himself. But the Vendetta tape was more so it was him going back to his roots of just rapping, and he's really rapping well on Vendetta. I think he pronounced it Machiavelli. There's like another song on this EP that I really like a lot. But the main thing that caught me was in the beginning. The first song, it really caught me off guard. It really made me think of like a timestamp Drake song, was just like his flow and the way he delivered the track. But it was good. It was good. It was still him in the end. Shout out to Vic Mensa. I did enjoy it for a good week or two. I also listened to. I'll be honest with you. I pretty much listened to what's his name? Knowledge. Like I listen to Knowledge beat tape almost every month, in and out. Like it stays in rotation. I've enjoyed that ever since it came out. Maybe back in like January, February. I've been listening to it every single week. I listen to it to some capacity, whether it be like a single song off there or I play the whole thing back. Logic album, enjoyed it a lot, ran it back a lot, and there's also this beat tape by this guy named Lord Forgive Me. And I've been listening to that a lot too while I study and things of that nature. But that's
what a name!
Yeah, that's a hard name. Lord forgive me.
Like names that are clauses or shit like full sentences.
So Lord forgive me, Knowledge, Logic, Vic Mensa, and a little bit of that's the most. I've been listening to Benny the Butcher a lot too. Just been listening to his verses. Just go like I'll just go to all the songs that feature him, and I've just been pressing play and like. I gotta hear this. What about you?
It was a month of playlist for me. It was a month of playlist.
Man, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It wasn't that many releases in August that I was rocking with. I gave. Okay, I was go listen to the NLE Chopper album. Then I was like, it's NLE Chopper, so I just listened to Shot of Flow 47, for the 50th time. And then the rest of the month, it's really just been me going through the catalog and listening to a lot of Westside. I'm really rocking with Westside. And whenever I listen to Westside, I gotta go listen to Brunson.
So
yeah,
wait, is that the album?
That's Lemonade. That's Westside.
Hey,
right?
That's how you say anime?
I don't think so. I think it's he.
Is it anime? I think it's like anime.
I thought it was a meme.
M is before the
I've been
N.
calling him anime for 2 years. I'm so sorry.
Nah.
I thought it was a meme or something like that.
He released a good album too. I didn't run it back one time. That was a good album.
I haven't heard it yet. I have not heard it yet. That Westside Gun album's not out yet either. Is it? Is it out?
Wait. Wait. What's this album cover?
That's Westside.
That's Westside album cover?
To the far left, yes.
That is a wide album cover, but I'm rocking with it.
I think he said his daughter made it. I think.
Well, she is.
I'm rocking with it. That's a lot of blood. Bruh, what? How old is she?
I don't know. Old enough.
She listens to that man. She listens to his music, fam.
Of course. She be talking on his albums. I was thinking about that too. Like I wonder like how like rappers say a bunch of wild things on the track, and I be thinking to themselves like they ever just wonder like what their kids are gonna think when they hear this music.
Wait, hold on. He dropped another album?
He's getting ready to drop. I don't think it actually released this month. It was supposed to release, but I think it's actually going to release in the next week or two because I saw something that said Griselda's releasing.
Okay.
It was gonna be Conway this week. I think next week is Westside Gun. I think next week is that female rapper on their label. I forget her name. Armani.
Wow.
Armani Season.
Wow.
And then the week after that is Benny the Butcher.
I mean, hey, Westside did say this is his last year rapping, so he probably gonna drop 5 more.
Okay, wait. Oh, so does that mean he dropped 2 albums this year?
I think he's dropped more than. We have the internet.
Yeah. Just
I am lacking. Damn.
He releases music every other week, every other day. So it's easy to lose track.
I've been lacking.
He's already released 2 games.
Well, for the folks that was listening, I was talking about the first album he dropped this year. My fault, y'all.
He put out Pray for Paris, Fly God's an Awesome God, and then that album.
The album's already out.
Yeah, I'm lacking.
I guess not.
No, I don't think so. I think coming.
Okay, well, I was talking about.
All right, so I was thinking Fly God's Awesome God.
That's all I heard this year.
Yeah, Pray for Paris. I don't want to ruin the rest of his year by listening to anything but Pray for Paris, so I'm just going to keep it there.
So he's released 2 albums already.
Shout out to Pray for Paris. That's what I've been bumping.
That's gonna be his third. This is gonna be his third album coming up.
Hey, man, working.
Cam, what have you been listening to?
And final.
Speaking of guys who are always dropping music, let's not forget who had a great month of August. The artist by the name of Aubrey Drake Graham. We got Laugh Now Cry Later, and we got In the Cut with Roddy Ricch. 2 really good songs. And he's got us hyped and ready for the album. So, big fan of that.
You know what's crazy? I'm actually not. That Roddy Ricch song, I didn't know that existed.
Y'all should
I ain't heard nothing about it.
I thought it was a leak. Was it a leak or was it like out?
I think it might have been a leak. It might have been a leak.
It's a
I heard it on like satellite radio.
I don't listen to leaks, so it's very possible that slipped by me. So I
heard, but I did hear it on like satellite radio, so it might have like come out, but also they could possibly be playing stuff they shouldn't be playing on there also. So
that's actually hilarious if so.
Does it sound like Pistols?
Hold on, man.
No.
Oh yeah, it did get leaked because Roddy Ricch reacted to it, and I guess labels to just run it with it.
That's a single now.
It's a single now.
Cord, I think it's interesting. I don't think most Drake fans I know have heard Pistols until you mentioned that Pistols is a song that exists. I had never heard Pistols. Don had never heard Pistols. Don had never heard Pistols.
Wait, you had never heard Pistols?
No.
I've never heard it.
It's crazy.
I'm
putting y'all on Drake music. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Also, Roddy Ricch dropped the deluxe for Pray for Love. I mean, not Roddy Ricch, Rod Wave, my bad.
That's right. You bumping
that?
Yeah. I'm all into that pain music,
Cam, if you ever want to talk.
I feel.
Also, speaking of that, footnote, let's clear some space out to talk about those ciphers.
Today?
Listen to ciphers, fellas? Have you listened to ciphers?
I actually have not.
You're talking about the double XL ciphers, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jordan, I wouldn't mind.
All I heard was Mulatto.
But those are some good. Those are, man, everybody besides TJ and Polo G. Polo G had a good verse, but he stopped the music. Today's verse that did not need music stopping. Mulatto had a great verse. Chopper surprised me.
Man.
Raw Wave hit. That's why I brought this up, because Raw Wave had a great verse. And Chica, of course. So.
Yeah, well, the podcast doesn't know I had a busy week with med school, so I didn't. This is probably the first time that the Double X Freshman ciphers have come out, and I just actually have not listened to them at all. I ain't even really seen them like just really floating around TL when I do check Twitter. I ain't really been on Twitter that much this week either. So, who y'all think had the best cipher?
I don't want to listen to all of them.
Hey, man. I think so. I'm going to keep it real with you. Jaquez and the Mulatto freestyle, she been out for a minute. And you know how it is when you see her rapping, you be like, oh, okay, she probably made this, then in the third. I ain't know she was rapping like that. Like, even when she dropped the collab album with Gucci, I was like, I'll listen to it one day. I ain't know she was rapping like that, fam. I might have to stand. I ain't going to hold you. She went crazy.
Oh, she had a great verse.
She went crazy.
Is anybody familiar with Miss Mulatto's music? Is anybody here familiar with it? Like what she does on a normal basis?
Not other than
I've listened. I was about to say I've only really listened.
All I heard is what was the little rich chick from the South? I think I probably heard like 1-2 songs.
Wait, where's she from?
And then you got Muwap as well.
The South.
Which is the song.
Yeah.
She is.
Yeah, Muwap.
Where is she from? That's a good question.
Somewhere in the South.
Okay, cool. We supposed to be all things Southern. We supposed to know these things, but
she from Columbus.
Damn.
Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
South Carolina, I would assume.
This says Ohio. Well, she was born in Columbus.
Oh wait, no. That's right. No, yeah, she was born. No, I actually looked this up. She was born in Columbus, and then she was raised in Atlanta, or like right outside of Atlanta.
There we go.
Yeah. I think. Okay. Yeah.
Why are you doing, Cam? Why are we doing investigative journalism on Mulatto?
There we go.
The same reason that Jordan watched the WAP video 3 times.
Oh, it's a callback. I love a good callback.
I knew this was coming.
Love a good callback.
You love to see it. You love to see it.
Right.
But no, something I can really say is I feel like we're in a really good time with I feel really bad saying female now because apparently it's like a degrading term. I didn't know, but I like in women's rap. I will say that it's really great because you got women like Mulatto who she isn't even really like one of the. She's not really in the Cardi B, I would say Meg range, or she doesn't really rap sultry. It's like trap rap. Like she's like real hard, like selling drugs.
Like Renee Rucci.
Yeah, and it's like, and then you got other females who do, like I said, the sultry stuff. Then you got, it's just a lot of different lanes that you can be in. It's great to see that. I'm
gonna tell you what, that Armani Caesar girl that signed to Griselda that I was telling y'all about, she can spit too. She can spit too.
She spin?
It's a beautiful thing, Cam, because right now women's rap, it's the first time to me where there's been tears and the other tears mattered.
It's facts. It's facts.
Like, and then like now it's like, Mulatto doesn't have to be as big as Cardi, Meg, and all of them, but she still has great performance, great lane, and we all know who she is.
All right, so let's move on to the next topic. You know what time it is. It's the NBA playoffs, so we're going to talk about the NBA playoffs in round 2. The biggest development so far in round 2 is the Celtics have now advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals, led by Jason Tatum, who averaged, I think, around 25 points per game. They won Game 7 in a very hard-fought game where I think Jaylen Brown almost got hurt. He had to get back up. It was. God, I picked the Celtics to make it to the Eastern Conference Final. Now that they're there, what do you think? How far do you think this team can go? Do you see these guys actually making the finals past the Heat and actually winning it all? Like, what do you think their ceiling is from here on out?
So I'll say this: before the season started, my finals prediction was actually the Lakers and the Celtics, and I said that to start the season. I don't know if I ever went on record saying that, but when the podcast started, so don't really quote me on that. But I have always thought that. But I've always said that, and I don't know if I see the Celtics winning the finals. But I will say, I mean, they're gonna give anybody a fighting shot just because they got so many guys who can create on the iso ball. So many guys who they play well team ball. Tice has been great defensively, which is not something I expected, but. Yeah, I mean, I definitely see them making the finals, and I mean they're great. So,
yeah, I actually had them picked to make it to the Eastern Conference Final. The only team in the East I thought would beat them would be Giannis. I didn't think they had like the bodies and the defenders to wall up and keep Giannis out the paint. So I was like, okay, if Giannis gets past the Heat, then the Celtics they're just not going to be able to stop him. But there is no more Giannis. Giannis is done at Kumpo. He is at home unfollowing his teammates on Instagram. And so, with that being said,
Wait, that's real?
That's real.
Yeah. I didn't know if that was real or not.
I wouldn't check. It's real.
Before we jump to conclusions, he actually unfollowed everybody. Like, he's on like a handful of people he's still following. And most of them aren't. I don't think any of those people are like actual like basketball players, except his brother.
Yeah.
That's about the only basketball player I think he's still following. But anyway, the Celtics, I believe in the Celtics because I believe that you need very capable wings who can score and wings who can defend. And the Lakers, and the Celtics have 2 dynamic wings in Brown and Tatum who can get their shot at any time and also lock up on the other end. I think I like them over the Heat for that reason. Also, the fact that they have a first-team all-defender and Marcus Smart, who's going to do every little thing. Thies, he is Tice, however you say his name, Thies or Tice, is a very underrated defender. He's serviceable. Makes me think a lot of Zubac. He flies under the radar because he is a sexy option at the center. He's going to get your boards. He's going to defend the rim. He's going to make the right play.
He's going to hold it down.
And he's going to hold it down. He's a solid center for a championship team. The only problem is they don't have depth. And I thought that would hurt them, but the main guys have stepped up and kept that from really burning them. And so hopefully Gordon Hayward comes back soon, is able to lend a hand in the finals. If Gordon Hayward comes back in the finals, the Celtics might. I can call my favorite, but I think the Celtics could beat the Clippers if they get there. I'm pretty sure of that.
They catch somebody sleeping.
I would favor the Celtics over us if we played them. I'm not going to lie to y'all, especially the way we've been looking recently. So I got Celtics making the finals. That's my prediction.
Okay, so let me before you go, Dawn, let me ask y'all this. If I were to tell y'all when the playoffs started that there's only one team left in the field that's only lost one game, who would y'all say it would be? Because I know y'all wouldn't have said the Miami Heat.
No, I wouldn't have. If I had to predict that there was only going to – if there was a team – if I had, looked at the playoff seeding and looked at who was going to play who, I would have said the Milwaukee Bucks. That's the team I would have bet on only losing one game on their way to the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals. Because I would have thought to myself, I said that the Blazers were going to sweep the Rockets, but I was like, the Rockets – I mean, I said the Lakers were going to sweep the Blazers, but I figured that the Rockets would get at least 2 games off of them, which they might. We had to wait and see. The Rockets could get eliminated tonight.
Man, they going home.
But yeah, the Heat they exceeded my expectations of what they are. They could very well beat the Celtics. I had the Heat pegged as a second. I saw them making the second round. Didn't see them getting past it. They surprised me. They over-exceeded my expectations. Shout out to Jimmy Butler for doing just that. Shout out to Hero for being a better rookie than you. Yeah, Hero. Being a very, very good rookie. Shout out to Eric Spoelstra for being an exceptional coach. Dragic for being a great sixth man. Yes, Dragic has been great.
Don't mess with the goal run.
That whole team's been great. I run out of words to say for them. Even Jay Crowder's been a great addition too. It was a great trade for them, getting him.
Sniping. Niggas just lead the Suns and just blow up, man.
It's crazy.
Just go crazy. Just go crazy.
Oh man, it says a lot.
I mean, okay, but Cam, he did get a most improved player with y'all. So y'all knew he was developing. Didn't he come get traded, came back?
Yeah.
He didn't go to the Suns twice.
Yeah, we had him twice. We left. I mean, I think he was like you said. We traded him away. I think we ended up getting him back as a free agent. It was some way. Yeah, he was on us twice. He was on the team twice. Though.
I'm gonna say. The funny thing about Dragic is they had 3-point guards.
Might come back.
And Dragic complained, said we don't need 3-point guards. And instead of just getting rid of 2 of them, they got rid of all 3. I just don't understand it. Now they don't have no point guards.
All of them.
It was like, we got 2 point guards. Let's just get rid of all of them. Why not just keep one? Why not keep one? I just did not understand the thought process
just in case.
Yeah, just in case. But speaking of the playoffs, let's talk about the other side of the bracket, the Western side. The Lakers have completely dominated this Rockets thoroughly. The Rockets didn't even they were trying in Game 4. They fallen down 3-1. They played again tonight. It could be the final game of their season. Guys, how big of a failure has this Rocket season been if they go home tonight?
Man. Jordan, you know how I feel about James Harden.
Yep.
You know I have fought tooth and nail to defend James Harden for years.
Yep.
I had to pick up my phone and text Cortez and tell him I ain't fan Steph Curry better.
I'm mad at this.
It really hurt. It hurt my soul because anytime Harden fought, I'd be like, bro, it was this, it was that, did that. He ain't that girl, man.
No.
It ain't him. It's him. It's him. Blame that Tony. I can't blame Hard. I can't blame Daniel House. I can't blame Russ. It is you. It is you, fam. It's your fault.
I'm be honest with Corey. It's all of them because it's a combination of Harden not moving without the ball and getting himself easier looks, or even taking the mid-range shots the team gives him.
He just be watching. He just be watching.
It's also MDA letting people like Austin Rivers get a rebound, dribble to the mid-range, see that he's open, but then not take the mid-range, and instead pass the ball to the 3-point line, which ends up getting picked off. It's also because of the fact of management trading Clint Capella away, and now let the team get out-rebounded in the playoffs by 24 whole rebounds.
Massively.
It's also Westbrook's fault for the simple fact that teams can scheme the hell out of him. They just bag up into the paint and force him to take threes, and he takes threes, and he just don't make them, and he don't defend. He can't play off ball because he shrinks the floor, and they just sag off of him. It's all of them. This is the Houston Rockets right now are an utter disgrace.
Blow it up.
It's a shame that any of us thought that they could actually challenge the Lakers. We should all be embarrassed for that, to be honest with you.
I won't say that we should be embarrassed.
I want them to take it to 6. I just want them to take it to 6. That's all I wanted.
You know what's crazy? Did you know that during the regular season, the Rockets were actually a worse three-point shooting team than the Lakers? They actually shot a worse percentage than the Lakers did.
Really? And the Lakers weren't a great three-point shooting team this year.
The Lakers were like 21st in the league.
Bottom 5?
The Rockets were 24th.
Bottom song.
That's crazy.
They just take a bunch of them, but But taking a bunch of them doesn't matter if you can't even hit a decent clip on them. So
Well, I guess they will argue that the percentage doesn't matter if you're taking a lot of them. Though.
But see, it doesn't matter if you're an average team at shooting them, because then you're gonna hit enough that you can win yourself games. But the problem is if you're a below average 3-point shooter, and you're taking all these threes, then it doesn't really help you that much. It don't help you enough to offset the rebounds you're not getting, offensive rebounds you're allowing. That's the thing about it. If you're gonna handicap your team in that fashion, you got to hit a good number of threes often, and they just can't do that because they don't have enough consistent 3-point shooting on their team. So yeah, also credit to the Lakers though for double teaming Harden and forcing Russ to beat them, and Russ can't do it. He just can't.
Blow it up. Go on, blow it, man. Go on, blow it up, bro. Go on, send Harden to Philadelphia. We need.
Now,
go on, do it.
The only other thing I can say about the second round is the Clippers are right now in a very precarious situation. We had a chance to put the Denver Nuggets away. We were up 3-1. Now we're up 3-2. It's giving me shades of 2015 when we could have easily advanced to the Western Conference Final. Instead, we fumbled the ball by blowing a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter.
You know, Jordan, you said when the playoffs had started, when everybody was getting all this hype behind the Clippers, and I think you actually might have jinxed them because you said the Clippers have never won a playoff series in less than 6 games. And then in my mind, when I was watching Game 5, I was like, oh, they might have a chance to do it. No,
less than 7. We'd actually never beaten a team in less than 7 games. So when we beat the Mavericks, that was the first time since 2006 that we've ever beaten a team in less than 7 games. Now the problem with this is this is the thing. I'm about to say this series could have already been over if the team just buckled down, Doc, and made some right rotations. I'm so sick and tired of saying it. As of right now, I can't see us beating the Lakers. Just for the simple fact that I don't see Doc making the necessary adjustments that we need on the fly to beat the Lakers. I got the Lakers going to the finals right now.
Man, this is my thing. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead.
Man, it's Doc, bro. It's really Doc. Like even if you eat like the one championship they got in Boston, every series went to 7. And when I'm watching the game, fam, you take Zubac out, you take Pat out, you put in Lou and Trez. All right, cool. They ain't really making no shots like you think they would. I guess you keep them in. Jokic starts scoring. Murray starts scoring. Jokic starts scoring. Murray starts going. Everybody looking at him like, okay, are you like, why won't he make, like, I done spent all year saying I don't rock a bug because he don't make adjustments, and Doc Rivers wait till the last minute. Like, we could be up 50 and they can go on a 48-0 run, and he'll wait till we down by 12 to be like, you know what, you guys, maybe it's time to do it. And I be thinking, like, is he trying to teach them a lesson? Is he trying to show them, like, if y'all don't pick it up, I'm gonna let y'all? Like, I don't know what it is. I'm tired of this.
Doc Rivers.
I'm not even watching the game Sunday.
I'm not either. Doc Rivers is he's a field coach, an eye test coach. He's not a guy who likes to rely on numbers. But I don't understand how you can use your working eyeballs and watch Montrezl Harrell, who's like 6'6", guard 7-foot Jokic, and Jokic just completely obliterate him in the post, throwing the ball over his head and out rebounding him, and think to himself, "This is okay. This is fine. We can just let this keep happening." Montrezl Harrell has been the worst Clipper on the team this playoffs. I know he just came to the bubble, and soon as the playoffs started, he had his death with his grandmother, all those things. But the thing about Trez is it's just no effort. Just doesn't try on the defensive glass. He doesn't try to box people out. He doesn't try to defend and step up on shooters. He doesn't do anything on the defensive end. But the thing is, he catch that ball on the offensive end, he be trying his hardest.
He be dunking.
He be trying his hardest.
He dunking.
No, he don't be dunking though. That's the thing about it. He actually gets stopped a lot. He has not been scoring at the clip he usually does. He's been bad. His offense does not offset how horrifically bad he's been on defense. He has been. I think he's been in the net negatives the entire playoffs. I saw a stat that said that he only played. If
only we had made a trade.
We should trade him. I saw a stat that said he only played 8 minutes against Jokic last night. They scored 28 points in those 8 minutes. It's hilarious.
And it goes back to my point. There's no reason to have an elite defense. If when you take them players off the court and you put in the worst defense possible, ain't no point of having the best defense in the playoff when the rest of them defenders got to go rest and you put the absolute worst defenders in the playoffs on the court at the same time. It don't make sense.
That's why
it don't make sense.
I said back in February. Yeah, shouldn't have been 6 man. It should have been Dennis Schroeder. I said this earlier in the year. It was like around February. I tweeted it actually. I didn't think I said it on a podcast. People had talked all year about what the Achilles heel for the Clippers is. Like, they need a point guard. I'm like, no, Patrick Beverly is fine in that role. They need a rim protector. Right. They need a rim protector. No, Zubac is one of the best young rim protectors in the league. What kills the Clippers is without a doubt their bench defense. Because when you have Kawhi and PG sit down, you have Shamet, Reggie Jackson, Lou Will, and Montrezl Harrell on the court at the same time. At best, only one of them is an average defender, and that's Landry Shamet. Everybody else is a below average defender. That's the Clippers' Achilles heel. That's what's going to spell their doom between now and whenever it is when they're eliminated. Because Doc Rivers refuses to make adjustments and refuses to keep his best players on the court at max. So yeah,
y'all sound like Suns fans.
Hey man, I'm keeping it real. I ain't no delusional fan. I ain't gonna make excuses. I'll keep it.
But this is the thing. We have seen this happen time and time again, Cam. We've seen this happen a billion times. When we was up on Houston 3-1. What was it? A 16, 18-point lead? It was a high lead, and they just kept shooting and going, and everybody's like, "Are you gonna put Blake and Chris in?" Nah, we good. And they just going. You gonna put Blake and Chris in? Nah, we good. We like, fam. If I get you want to rest them, let them finish the game. We up 3-1. They would have days to rest. Them minutes don't matter if you can rest for days.
Yep.
Everybody talking, well, he ain't want to overwork Kawhi and PG. Well, you know when they're gonna have to work? Sunday and probably Tuesday. Because you don't want to let them play 15, 10 extra minutes. You add like.
It's ridiculous, and like I have no faith in this team because of Doc. It's because of him. I don't have any faith in him to play best players. Like I said, Trez has been the worst player in the playoffs. Team. He should be playing Green. It's
a very talented team. It's a talented team. We got a bunch of pieces, but those pieces mean nothing if they are not managed correctly. And it's wrong.
I was just about to say, Cord, I feel like individually, talent-wise, this team is way more talented than the Raptors were last year. And I think Kawhi is having to work more this year than he did last year when he was on the Raptors.
Except for that Philly series. He was working in the Philly series.
Yeah, he working hard in that Philly series, boy. That's because PG took a while to come to form. PG's actually been pretty good the second round.
He has.
You could tell because nobody's been making fun of him on Twitter. But it's be honest with you, the team has been fine. It's really just Trez. It's just Trez minutes. We lose the game in those minutes. Yeah. And that's the bottom line too. Everybody else has been fine. But let's just go on to the next topic. Go ahead, Cole, before we move on.
Even though I still believe the Clippers go win, even if we win, it's gonna be some adjustments this offseason. It's gonna be some changes this offseason. I can tell you that. Kawhi and PJ ain't saying nothing now, but let me tell you, when all this over with, they calling Jerry. Niggas finna be up out of there.
Reggie Jackson.
Even if they win a ring, Court?
Yes.
Even if they win a ring,
Harold gone. Harold gone. So, all right, moving on to the next topic, I want to talk to you guys about consistency. In rap, like as you know, being consistent in rap is a very, very hard thing. So hard that a lot of older rappers, when they get up in age, they think themselves, "Oh, this is a young man's game. I can't keep doing this." Most rappers just don't have that kind of longevity. They just don't have the ability to recreate and recreate themselves in a new mold, or just to really refine what makes them great over and over again and put it back out. One of the biggest examples has to be Future. Future is, I would probably say,
Absolutely.
the poster boy for consistency. And I don't feel like his subject matter changes all that much. I don't think it varies all that much from project to project. And yet he finds a way to refine and repackage himself from project to project and
Every time.
and gets his listeners to tune in and feel like they're listening to something brand new. Cord, who do you feel like is the most consistent, or one of the most consistent rappers, and how do you think they are able to pull this off?
Man, I gotta go Future Thug. Future Thug. Either one. They interchangeable in my eyes. They both been doing this, what, over 10 years at this point?
Yes.
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I remember when Thug first came out, people said, man, he ain't gonna last a year. He ain't gonna last 2 years. He ain't gonna do this, that, and the third. And then from project to project, he just been building. And he was dropping multiple projects in years. And even to this day, people have not got tired of listening to him. And I think that this is where, when it comes to being, and I like what you said about Future. You said if Future's able, he doesn't change his subject matter, but he changed the music in general.
Yeah,
He can go
delivery.
R&B, he can go rap. He can come with the super soft, smooth type of rap. He just chilling there, perks in the stripper joint, or he come through. I'm like Face Shot, like you know what I'm saying. Like he can come through hyper aggressive tracks, and it's like with Future. Even when he ain't in his bag, he in his bag. Because no matter what he doing, he can always switch it up on you and catch you slipping every single time. But it's like with Thug gotta be one of the most versatile artists out here. And it's like, man, like he different. He different. I ain't got no words for it. He just different. Like when I look at Thug, I look at Future, I look at Ross, I look at who else I'm feeding. I'm looking. Well,
You can't say Kendrick because he
got like 4-5 projects, but he's still super consistent. He ain't got a lot of projects, but it's a very small list of artists that can just constantly mass produce music over and over and over and over and over and consistently give you great projects back to back. It's extremely hard to do.
Delon,
and a lot of it.
Delon, who do you feel is like one of the more consistent rappers in recent memory, and why do you think they're able to keep themselves from sounding redundant?
So I have two. My 1B, this is in the interest of not giving the same answer because Future and Thug, of course, are up there. 1B, I'm going to say before his last album, Tyler Creator, because he always comes back with something incredibly different. Of course, the last one was a little too different for a lot of people, singing bass, not really rapping at that point. But he's one of the few people who get considerably and noticeably better each album. And where a lot of people, as in Future Thug, get very consistent, they'll always give you a B plus, A minus, B plus. Tyler, every single time, it is a better and different sounding and more energy towards that project. My second one is going to be Wale. And Wale, I believe, is because I've never heard a Wale album that didn't sound inspired. It might have not been your favorite. It might have sounded a little, but I've never heard a Wale album that did not sound inspired, topical, from the heart, from the something, to where it can't just be drone music. It can't be something in the background. It can't be elevator music. It can't be something he thought about while he was half in it. Wale only drops because, our biggest complaint about Wale is he's so passionate about everything, to his faults. He's very passionate about his music, and I think that's one thing that a lot of rappers and artists don't have, especially once they hit a certain level of fame and money and success.
Yeah. I respect that answer to the fullest, man, especially Wale. How do you feel about Shine?
Consistency.
Because I didn't really know you when Shine came out the line.
It was all right. I don't hate it. Like, that's not like my I'll listen to every Wale album except for that one. It's all right. It just happened to come out either before or after my favorite Wale project, which is Album About Nothing. So I think it came out after. So that might have been a little bit of a little jarring for me. But it was all right. just
I was just Shine made me go back and listen to all his other albums, made me realize how consistent he is actually. Even the projects I wasn't that crazy about, like going back and listening to them, like The Gifted, which I really didn't like at the beginning, but I went back and listened to it. I'm like, oh, I actually enjoyed this a lot. Like Wale was actually doing some things on this album.
Even the year after that, after Shine, he put out the 3 EPs. It's Complicated, Self-Promotion, and Free Lunch. 3 EPs, 4 months apart, all amazing. Every single one amazing. Yes. Different sounding as well.
Also, he's come out with some pretty good mixtapes over the years with Falarin, the Festivus tape. They were both pretty good, and nobody really ever talks about them.
MMG albums.
He's like, is he the parsley of MMG? I don't know. I don't know how to explain him. It's just that like so many of them MMG.
I ain't heard him say MMG in a minute.
He is easily the I'm not gonna say the most versatile, but maybe the only versatile person in MMG to where like he's only like a fit song to song. I'm gonna say this. Sound out of place.
I'm gonna say this, man. The MMG songs all be having almost the same approach to them, except on the ones that feature Wale. That's like those would probably be the most dynamic verses / tracks on the entire project. The rest of them pretty much follow the same formula on those particular projects.
Oh wait, will me count?
That's what.
Will me count in this category? I just thought about
consistent.
We talking about Wale and Ross.
Yeah.
Meek been in there for a minute too.
Yeah, my guy I was gonna pick was Currency, and I think Currency is the perfect example of knowing your lane and refining it. And people talk to me all the time about why some people rappers' heads for talking about the same thing over and over again, others not. And I say it's simply because it's all about how you change your delivery. When you change your delivery, you change how the music actually sounds. Like Future, like he literally was sampling songs from Dirty Sprite 2 on The Wizard. But it didn't matter because the way he rapped over those particular songs was different than how he rapped on Dirty Sprite 2. So it made it sound like completely different songs, even though they were using more or less the exact same beat instrumentation. I feel the same way.
And that's how you know he got classics. He's sampling himself. Come on now.
And I feel the same way about Currency because he's somehow able to talk about being fly, about making smoking sound cool. He's managed to do that in a new way every single time he raps over some very beautiful, lush production every single time. And I've never heard him repeat himself. He talks about the same thing, but he describes it in a different way every time. Just like Pusha T, who's also approached the kid for consistency. How he raps about coke on almost every song, but he's never described coke in the same way on any given song. He finds a way to imagine drug dealing in a different way every single time. And that's how he's able to remain consistent and without being redundant. So shout out to the rappers in the rap game who figured out how to live within their niches without having to switch up too far, but at the same time,
it ain't easy.
No, it's not. It's something that a lot of rappers try to figure out how to do because you never want to make you never want to make part 2 to on your projects.
No.
I've never really felt like any of those guys made a part 2 to their last project, even though they might keep the subject matter pretty similar. It's all about how you approach it, your delivery, and your production. You could change if you change those 2-3 things.
Even though I ain't crazy about his music, I got the Wiz in there too.
Wiz Khalifa?
You got the Wiz in there too. I ain't even heard about his music like that, but I got them in there.
I hope Taiwan ain't watching this. I ain't gonna speak ill on Wiz. He's a good guy.
Hey, go on say it.
He's like a great guy. He puts out very consistent trash.
Say it so I won't have to.
Very consistent trash and below average music since 2012.
Taiwan, you hear this?
Nah, I hope not.
But go.
Thanks, Taiwan calling, is
it? Might be.
We live streaming.
Hey man, you talking about Wiz?
Consistent mid.
All right. So moving on to the next topic, I want to talk to you guys about X factors in the NBA. So X factor is a guy who can win, who can wheel you to a win in the playoffs. A guy you wouldn't really expect to be one of your top 3 guys, but a guy who can make a difference on the team. Rajon Rondo has returned for the Lakers against the Rockets. He's been hitting threes. He's been making plays. He's getting steals. He's been doing it all for the Lakers. Playoff Rondo. He's looking like a guy who's going to push them over the edge this postseason. A guy we didn't think would actually be that useful because even the Lakers fans didn't feel that way. Guys, who do y'all feel like are the X factors for the remaining teams in the playoff?
Marcus Morris.
Marcus Morris for
and Marcus Smart.
Yes,
I was gonna say Marcus Smart. Yeah, that's what I was going with.
Yeah, Marcus Morris, Marcus Smart, Pat Bev, Rondo, Jay Crowder.
I was about to say I don't know who to say for the Heat, just solely off the fact that anybody can go off at any game. Like, so I don't know who it could be for the Heat.
Yeah, the Heat score by committee. Like they all chip in almost every single game. That's how they win. So it's hard to say who's this guy who could blow up and win him a series. But I like the Jay Crowder pick for some fact of how he's been guarding like the best perimeter player on the opposing team. I assume he's going to be the one that's going to be guarding Jason Tatum.
And them corner threes.
He's a great passer, underrated passer. I could see that being for him. Marcus Morris definitely for the Clippers. He's been a revelation. He's hitting like 50% of his threes. He's been being a great perimeter defender. He's just been doing a little bit of everything for the team. X factor for and fighting. X factor for the Celtics, definitely Marcus Smart. We saw him hit like 5 threes in the fourth quarter against the Rockets against the Raptors.
Went crazy.
He turned into Steph Curry for like a couple of possessions, and
I ain't never seen him shoot 5 threes.
No, and you never seen him make 5 threes. You've seen him shoot 5 threes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You never seen him make 5 threes, but he's the type of guy who can make a difference in a series by making like consecutive plays like that, as well as getting rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. Like he can change the game in multiple different ways.
He do it all.
I guess the X factor for the Rockets was Daniel House.
Yeah. Let's just say he went out with a bang.
I guess you can say he went out on top.
Went from being the X factor to being X-rated.
Okay, he got one. Okay. I recycle my Jamal Murray joke. I get him.
Oh yeah, let's go.
Damn. But he really ruined his life. He really ruined his whole life.
In my mind, I'm thinking like, was he that big of a difference, or were the Rockets like trash like that?
I think on a team like the Rockets, where you already don't have a center, your coach like to play 8 guys, 7 guys in a playoff series. You already have a very thin roster of rotation. Losing anybody, like it could have been Tucker. It could have been Austin Rivers. It could have been Green. It's going to force the Rockets to play somebody that they don't want to play at all, or it's going to force them to play somebody who already gets a lot of minutes, way more minutes, and overexert themselves. So losing a guy like him, who's a really good shooter, on a team that already doesn't shoot that well collectively, and he's a pretty good defender too, to lose that hurts them tremendously. And he's gone. He's out the bubble. The Rockets, they're done tonight. They're done.
They out the bubble.
They done. They about to follow him. They ain't gonna be in the bubble much longer either.
He ruined his whole life, fam. And the thing is, he was doing really good in his playoff series. Like he legit could have got a bag this offseason. I mean, you know, with the whole China thing, it wasn't gonna be no super bag, but it would have been a bag.
Hey, I'm gonna say this.
Why?
This is my whole thing. As an NBA player, you're not inviting no girl to the bubble unless she's your wife or a really serious girlfriend. With that being, because once they get in there, they stay for a while. So with that being said, if he's a young guy in the NBA, he probably didn't have anybody to invite. With that being said, I mean, these guys not finna be in there going crazy. I'll just say that. Because I'll say this. I'll say that he might have just been the first one to get caught. I don't know if this is the first instance of this.
I'm gonna say this, man.
Might have been the first.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Chris
not.
Paul just snitched on him as he was walking out the door. That's all.
It's all. One last FU to the Rockets. I don't understand why, if he was lonely, why not just invite your wife to the bubble, man? Just invite your wife. You ain't seen her in months. Just invite your wife. Ain't like you were tired of her or something. Just invite your wife, man. That's all you had to do.
We don't know. Maybe he was.
He ain't been home in like 3 months. He ain't think to himself like, let me invite my wife. Nah, I'm gonna just chill with the bottle girl. I'm gonna chill with the nurses here. Like that's come on, man. Come on, man.
And then you cannot come. No. See, I'm 6 man on the team. The rules are 6 man. You can't bring your girl. Only starting 5 can bring 8. Oh, okay. See, hey, I think I see Lil Will girlfriend. See, he different. He multiple times sick, man. You know,
He's Coach Man of the Year.
Talking about the NBA snitching, man.
Bro, okay, and I'm gonna say this. Now that is one. That's one thing I am mad about. NBA really did him dirty. They really
pay
did
for his lawyers for divorce.
Exactly. They could at least hit the Daniel House low key caught COVID, and then, he could have went home and just explained it like, "Hey, I ain't really got COVID. They kicked me out for blah blah blah." Like, but when you just come out and say, "Oh yeah, he had somebody in his hotel room for multiple hours," I was like, "Damn."
Wait, did the NBA
did him dirty?
Did the NBA official press release say that?
Yes, they put out a statement saying that he was in with an unidentified female for multiple hours and didn't have any other contact with any other player or person in the bubble except for him.
Yeah. They basically said, "Look here, nigga, you is not bigger than this bubble. You is not bigger than this bubble."
Oh my goodness!
Especially not him.
Exactly. You ain't James Harden.
Offer them to lose the next game. That's tough. At what cost, Dan?
He could have got a
wait 3 days.
He could have got a bag.
He could have invited his wife. That was perfectly. That's what I'm saying. That was perfectly legal. If he invited his wife,
when you said he could have invited his wife, I thought you said he could have just invited the wife. Is what I thought.
Man.
Anyway. I mean, Jordan, if you think about it, he was running out of chances to cheat. Because after this, he got to go home. He got to stay at home.
But he been there for
exactly.
My point is, he had been there already without her since the beginning of July. It's September. He'd already been gone for 2 months. He could have got.
He waited to the end.
Yes,
he waited to the end.
We finna get put out anyway,
line, bro. He could have. Meet me at the airport real quick. Anything.
But this my thing though. Let's say Houston lose, this, that, and the third. That would have been, we lost, but Daniel House, he played good this offseason. Maybe a 10, or, maybe we offer you a 2-year, $10 million, and then the third. You good coming off the bench. Not every team will look at you like you a liability. Then, and so not only did you get kicked out the bubble, you got to go home. You got to go home.
He ain't going home.
You got to go home and answer for all this. So now bagged up and your marriage messed up. And if you get a divorce, your bag really messed up.
He ain't going home.
He ain't going home.
Nah.
Hey.
No,
you might well go hit up a gym.
His wife posted on the on IG like, you reap what you sow.
NBA out here breaking up homes. That's crazy.
Good thing he already has his bags with him.
Hey.
All right. All right. Moving on to the next topic. Let's see. Okay, what do you guys want to talk about? So we got two topics.
We really not the line. We really not. I was like, give me 1 second, Jordan. Like how this be like, they tell me this, then the third. When I saw that, I said, damn, we really not. We the worst. We the worst.
Nigga put the whole NBA at risk. Because he couldn't wait 3 days. He couldn't wait 3 days.
Maybe we are the weakest link out here.
Yeah. Niggas who make. I don't know, Cord. Watching that no jumper. Well, no, you can.
Jordan, come on now.
Hey, you know what?
Come on now. I don't know if that's a point for Cord or that's a point for Jordan.
Actually, that's a point. That's a point for Cord.
We're not the weakest link.
No, we definitely are. We definitely are.
All them niggas the weakest link.
That Odell story is definitely.
Hey, that's Cam franchise. Black men ain't got nothing to do with it. Them book of mix, I think. He don't count. We ain't claiming him this week.
All right.
Can't shoot his way out of this one.
All right. So let's see. We'll see. I think we got 2 more topics left. I'm trying to decide which one I want to talk about. We talked about objectivity in rap. Actually, no, we didn't. We didn't talk about that. So let's talk about that. So as you guys know, we had this conversation like about a month ago. It feels like, but every time I put on a topic, it's always like towards the bottom, so we never really get there. So let's talk about being objective in rap. We had a debate in the group chat where they said that you can't
really the light 6.
The light 6. We had a conversation in the group chat where we talked about whether or not you can be objective when discussing rap. And some people felt like no, it's purely subjective. While there's also those of us who believe that, well, in rap you actually can. Like there is actually, according to the words of DeLon, math and science that can go into rap, and you can do that to rank rappers and put one above the other. And that's what the whole sport of rap has always been. With rappers saying, "I'm better than you. I'm the best rapper alive." It's always been about comparing guys, not because of what they do in terms of units or how many people like them, but in terms of what they do on the mic. Guys, do you guys feel like that we can be objective when talking about rap?
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. Like, no. You can't.
So
you can't.
I think you can be objective when talking about rap, as in who is the better rapper, who is rapping better than who, and not necessarily who is making better music, not necessarily what do you like more or what do you like less. There's a few different markers that you could use. Some of them are unique words. You could do unique words and see that could be a factor. You can break down rhyme schemes, poetry. Literally, poetry is a science if we think about it. Yeah. If we think about it, poetry is a science. There's certain ways. I've always respected the way that Eminem said he writes raps. I don't necessarily like it, but how he breaks it down into bars and measures as if he's writing actual music, like quarter note, half note, all that kind of shit. I think there's a lot of ways we can say this person is rapping better, although I don't like it more.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to say, because there's some rappers out there who make very great music who bat hats at Matt Cat, and I just don't think that is skillful necessarily. I think it's a talent in itself to make elementary music sound good and for a long period of time. But I do think there's a lot of ways where you can objectively say he is rapping better than him. I mean, I like it more, but he is definitely rapping better than he is rapping.
And that's the same thing. I say the same thing. I think you're able to be objective. And I use Eminem as like the prime example every time I talk about this, and that Eminem as a lyricist, rhyme schemes, the amount of rhyme he's able to fit into a song, that's objectively hard. Like being able to do these alliterations, the assonance that he puts in these lines and goes line for line to line and make all the lines line up rhyme-wise, that's not easy. But the subject matter is what makes things subjective. Because I could be like, well, he's talking about having sex with a German Shepherd on this song. That's bad. I don't want to hear that. But I cannot say that the rhyming and the way he writes his music in terms of putting the rhymes in, the thing, in terms of that kind of stuff, that's objectively good. That's objectively hard. It's not something that can be easily done, as long as it makes sense. And that's another important thing too. But a lot of times when I talk about if a rapper is better than another rapper, it's always like judging by the metaphors he's able to fit into the song, the similes, basically the literary devices he's able to implement into the song. And if a rapper is able, the more you're able to put into a song, for me, while making sense, the better you are as a rapper. Now, as DeLon said, not being a better artist, that's a different story, because then that factors in things like flow, melody, production, and then a lot of those things tend to be a lot more subjective. Like, how do you tell somebody that, like, for instance, Tyler Creator singing? To me, that's just flat out bad singing. He's off key or whatever. But some people might think like, it don't actually sound that bad. Kind of like YoungBoy.
They feel it.
I hate YoungBoy's style of like melodic rapping. I don't think it sounds all that pleasant compared to like guys like Thug when he does it. Thug's like the supreme example of that. But the fact is, I don't really enjoy YoungBoy, singing like that or rapping in that melodic way. It just doesn't sound appealing. But otherwise, some people think like that sounds good enough.
It's a little shrieky.
Yeah, some people sound, but see, that to me, that's subjective. But in terms of talking about the way people rhymes, like the way people write their lyrics, I think that's a lot more objective, and we can actually have a conversation about those things.
Okay, I'm gonna say this to me. Oh, my fault.
I was going to say, I think my quintessential example of a rapper who I think is objectively good, whose music I can't stand, would be MF Doom. I can't stand that nigga in his music at all, but it's impressive. I've never heard that ever in my life, but it's impressive.
No, what he does rhyming wise is top tier. I'd say him and Eminem are some of the best rhymers in rap, but their music I wouldn't say anywhere near top 5. Would you better say, Cord?
Man, and that's why for me, I think you can't be objective with rap, because at the end of the day, it's art. Like, don't get me wrong, you have like the technical rappers that can mathematically put words together and this, that, and the third. But even when you look at their catalog, if you ask an Eminem fan what's their favorite song, it's gonna be a song that they feel. It's not gonna be, I like the song where he put these words and these words and these. Like, even if you look at Kendrick, you know, Kendrick is a phenomenal rapper, but when you look at the songs that you like the most, it's the songs that you feel. That's why people like him, because every song, certain feeling that a human being goes through. I don't think we should judge it off who's rapping better, who's doing more, who's putting the most words together. It should be who make the best music.
No, see, I think you could do both, though. That's the thing about it. Like, I think you can be objective and subjective.
It's
like,
tough, though.
No, it's really not.
Though.
It's not.
I don't think, but see, Cord, I think you're putting together to one conversation. What I'm saying is those are two very different conversations.
Yes.
I'm not trying to have those two conversations at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah. I was like, yeah, that's a really great, he did very well on that, blah, 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 blah. I don't like it.
Yes. Like, for instance, like Eminem, we talk about who are the best rhymers in rap. Like, we're talking about who's the best at rhyming words together. I almost say Eminem, but then we have a conversation about who makes the best music. Well, that becomes a completely different conversation. And I'm like, well, Eminem doesn't make good music. So now that's a different conversation. I think that's a problem we make in rap. A lot of times when people say, who's your top 5? Well, I think you got to be a lot more specific. Like, who's top 5 in rapping?
Top 5
lyricists. Like, top 5 in terms of making music. Top 5 in
because he definitely top 5 lyricists.
Like, you have to be a lot more specific. And that's why I say I feel like you can be objective and subjective, because I can also say that Kendrick Lamar is my favorite rapper. Yeah. Hands down. I listen to the most. I enjoy his music the most. His music speaks to me more than most rappers. But I would never go as far to say he is the best rapper because he's my favorite rapper. You see what I'm saying? I know there's guys who actually there's guys who consistently make music just as great as him, if not better. And also guys who actually are better at rapping for me to go out on that limb. That's why I say you can be objective and subjective when dealing with music. Because just because you think something's objectively good doesn't mean you got to like it.
Well, and also I'll say this, coming from a more casual rap fan, I feel like that I am than you guys are. I feel like the conversation that we're having is kind of, I won't say it's like not necessary, but like my whole thing is like, yeah, somebody can be good at rap, but that's like what I'll compare it to the way I like to do this stuff compared to basketball, even though that's not real. That's a lot less objective. I mean, a lot less subjective. Yeah. But my thing is, that's like saying, all right, that's like somebody asking you, all right, this guy's the best shooter in the NBA or something like that. Well, yeah, he may be, but if he has a lot of other holes in his game, he can't be the best player. So, I mean, rap and making music are two totally different things. So, I mean, I don't know how important it is to say, oh, he's the best rapper if it doesn't contribute to a project as a whole.
Yeah, or saying saying someone's like the best passer in the league, or even not how that doesn't tell the whole scope of the player. Like as it capture an entire picture of who they are. And I think, like I said, you can objectively I feel like you can kind of objectively / subjectively rank NBA players. Like you talk about stats and things of that nature, but there's still a lot of intangible things that it's hard to like actually quantify when you're talking about basketball, just like with music. And so it's harder to it's the same way. Kind of like going back to the whole instance, like suggesting objective, like Chris Paul is my favorite basketball player, but I wouldn't say he's the best point guard because there's things I know that other point guards can't do better than him. But what you about to say, DeLon?
And then on the same scale, I think you can objectively or more objectively talk skill than the product. For example, especially with Memphis rappers, each Memphis rapper has a run every time they get on. But when it's the same thing and it's the same sound over and over and over again, it's like, okay, so at what point is this your style that you created that everyone likes, but you not necessarily being good enough to transition to something else, make a different kind of thing? So whereas you can have skill in a bad album, you can also have good stuff and then no skill at the same time. So I don't think it's like, and then also, some people just really like that stuff. So some people don't really care about how the music sounds. They just want to hear some rappity rap. Sometimes that's me. I don't really care about how it sounds. I just want to hear really good rapping. But then on some other times, I just don't really care how the rapping is. I just want to hear what I like. So I just think it also, because I think the difference with basketball would be you kind of need to be good at everything. Whereas in music, there's a lane.
Well,
There's a lane.
Yeah, and there isn't like a league in rapping.
Mhm.
Like there isn't like a league, and you're trying to get to a certain goal to be a champion. Like that isn't in rapping. That doesn't exist. So I get
Everyone
what
can
you're
be
saying.
successful at their own pace and their own.
Exactly. It's much more, like you said, it's much more of an art form than, like
Yes.
Ford said, it's much more of an art form than.
Unless you think of like the Grammys is your championship, or you think like an awards like that, it's a championship, or whether you think like universal acclaim amongst people. Like if you say I'm the best rapper alive, and then you got people across the country, like the majority, agreeing with that. In that case, then the last topic of the day is who are the biggest losers in the NBA? And by losers, I mean more so teams that have a losing mentality. So I was talking to Jaquiz the other day, and I was talking about how Jimmy Butler has led the Heat to a championship, not to a championship, but he's led them to the Eastern Conference Finals, and teetering towards going to the finals and maybe winning a championship. And I talked to Jaquiz and I told him, I said, you know what, like, yes, Jimmy Butler was wrong. I still believe that. I don't think there's no black or white in terms of what was going on between him and the Bulls, the Timberwolves, and the Sixers. But I will admit that while Jimmy's handling of those situations were wrong, there were definitely some obvious problems with each team. So the Bulls, it was clear that their management doesn't know what they're doing. When we saw with him hiring Fred Hoiberg and then hiring the guy that came after him, who I'm drawing a blank on what his name is, that was very terrible. Boylan.
Boylan.
Them trading Jimmy away and getting almost really nothing. Then you get to the Timberwolves and you look at the lack of effort from Wiggins and how he isn't really that guy like we thought he was going to be. And he made us realize the flaws in Cat's game, and he leaves. Then we get to the 76ers, and it's so funny because when he got to the 76ers, people said, oh, yeah, he was Simmons and Embiid now. He was some real winners now. They not like Cat and Wiggins. And then we get there and realize that, Ben Simmons isn't working on his game. He isn't expanding his game. And then we realize Embiid is still out of shape and he doesn't actually work all that hard. And then we learned that the team itself isn't that disciplined. The coach isn't holding anybody accountable. Then he leaves. And I thought to myself, I told Jaquez, I said, that's so funny that you have all these different – you had like – that's three franchises in a row he went to, and there was like significant problems with either the team management or either the players. I thought to myself, I wonder how many other teams are like that in the NBA, where you just have a bunch of guys who are just there just to hoop, just for the hell of it, and guys who aren't really into kind of make their teams better. Guys, who's a team that you think might actually have that loser's mentality? A team that you think that I actually not be up to snuff like we think they actually are?
So I'll preface this by saying that I've been a Suns fan since we had Steve Nash and Amari. And I don't think that the conversation that we're having has anything to do with the franchise in itself. I think it has more to do with the people that run the franchise. Like, yeah. I will say, like, Delon, I know you're a Timberwolves fan.
Bingo.
The Timberwolves haven't always been bad. Y'all were good when y'all had KG. And y'all, like, made, I don't know how many playoff runs. I really don't. I can't speak on it. But, like y'all were a formidable franchise at the time.
A couple.
Or maybe y'all weren't. But
they made some West Conference Finals. So
yeah. But my whole thing is that, like, same with me. I've been a Suns fan since we were good and consistently getting to the playoffs, getting to the second round, even getting to the conference finals sometimes, and almost making the finals. So it's definitely more of a top thing, the people that are running the franchise than the franchise itself. And with that being said, I will say I was actually watching a video. I don't know if y'all have seen them before, but it's these videos that they make. I think it's Bleacher Report, but it's like collapses of franchises. And I was watching one on the Sacramento Kings. And it's crazy because the Kings in the early 2000s were one of, like, they were the dream franchise, and it's to be made then. And you watch them, and then you see a few injuries happen, and then after those injuries happen, the team's never the same. The people at the top stop being those super smart people, like kind of like Daryl Morey was with the Rockets. You see the people like Daryl Morey was like, oh, he's revolutionizing the NBA, and a few years later, the Rockets can't even, make it past the second round of the playoffs. So, you look at it, and I feel like the Sacramento Kings are my pick just because I feel like they haven't drafted well. Well, I feel like they've drafted okay, but they had trades that have they got De'Aaron, and they also got Marvin Bagley, who's pretty formidable. Like Core says, big man take a minute. but I just feel like they have that losers mentality, and it's kind of like, what's the guy, Luke Walton? Is he the coach now?
Yeah,
but I
he
think
shouldn't
he's
be,
come in
but
and
he
tried
is.
to. Yeah, but I think he's like, even with the talent, despite him, like they've done a lot to try and fix it. But I think it's an up top thing, and I just say the Sacramento Kings is the team that I think of.
And also, that's why they fired Vlade Divac and that other guy whose name I can't remember. So I'm glad that they finally making some changes because he has been terrible at drafting. Wait, did you see the article that they were saying that he got fired because the organization wanted Luka, but he didn't draft Luka because he hated his dad, allegedly.
I saw something about that. Yeah, I saw. It was like Luka. It was like him and Luka's dad had some ongoing beef like in the past, and that's why he didn't get Luka. That's wild.
I'll say a team that I felt like that about. It's funny to say. I felt that way. I can't think of a team off the top of my head. I think I feel that way about right now, other than like the Sixers. I think the Sixers are still like in that funk where there's nobody being held accountable and guys aren't really working like they should be to make the.
They got a lot of talent.
Yeah, like the guys just aren't doing the things they need to, be the best version of themselves. I think I'm gonna go back to a team that I feel that way about a lot. And like looking hindsight, I think it was really the LA Clippers back when Chris, Blake, and DeAndre were there. Because just listening to Chris talk, he was like, I was trying to do things off court with teammates and stuff, but guys just didn't ever do anything. He said guys are always doing things by themselves, more so than as a team, trying to work together. And even though there was obvious things we need to work on together, we never actually tried to work on those things together. And he said he felt like that's why the team never got past where they were. And I think that speaks volumes of why the Clippers could never get over the hump, because they were never working towards getting over the hump. They were just failing every year and thinking that things were just going to change. And I think that's like the thing that bothered the 76ers. I think that's the thing that bothered Butler when he was with all them teams, where those guys just thought to themselves, like, we're talented. If we just go out here and just do, we just play, eventually our talent's going to win us games. But, I don't feel like the Clippers back then were putting in that work to be better. And I actually kind of feel that way about some guys on the Clippers now. I've already went over it, where I think some of them guys think I could just go out here and just do the minimum, or I can just go out here and just do what I feel like, and that's how we're going to win, rather than I'm going to go out here and give 110% on both ends. So yeah, I'm going to go Clippers. Past and kind of present. But
at least we got rid of Donald Sterling.
Yeah, at least we got rid of Donald.
Yeah, you know what, y'all? If y'all didn't do anything right, y'all did it right. I hope not.
Right.
No, we've been trending up since.
Salute to Steve.
Yes, sir. The greatest
Money
player
bag
alive.
mama.
I would say I've noticed that a lot of teams' loser mentalities come from on who that best player is. And I've noticed a lot of times when we have a team where the best player is a point guard and everyone else sucks, there's a little bit of life left in there, especially because that's a point guard who feels like they can do a lot by themselves. We've seen the Kyrie Cavs. We've seen, Chris Paul carry the Pelicans, who didn't feel like a losing mentality just because Chris Paul wouldn't let it happen. But a lot of times when the only good player, the Kemba Hornets, but a lot of times when the best and only good player is a big man, because they can't necessarily create for themselves, they wait for the ball to get passed. I think of the Kevin Love Timberwolves, the pre-D'Angelo Russell, post-Jimmy Butler Timberwolves. I think of the DeMarcus Cousins Kings, the Anthony Davis Pelicans. A lot of those times, those big men.
Brook Lopez Nets.
A lot of this.
Yeah.
So,
A lot of that.
Hey,
y'all don't see me?
The New York, even the Kristaps Knicks, if you think about it.
Yep.
And
Vision of Magic.
And that's why I've been telling people not to be so hard on big men when their teams are failing, because there's literally nothing they can do if their guards are terrible. Yeah. There's nothing they can do.
Terrible.
You got to get that Jokic thing and start bringing the ball up court.
Man, fuck that. That is the thing. I'm tired of watching goddamn Pascal Siakam. That's why I can't watch the Raptors. I'm tired of watching him bring the ball up the floor. I hate watching him do that. Not before, like Twitter was like big on, all he does is spin. Like he literally just run down there, post up at the free throw line, and just freak out, and I can't watch them play.
No, I said this months ago when people were saying that, like, they were saying that Pascal Siakam might be better than Paul George, because Paul George, he was still recovering. And I said, I said, I don't know if y'all remember, but last postseason, but that boy Siakam don't got one.
Consistent.
He don't got one move in his body. That's why he ain't consistent because he don't have a move or anything to use. Like his whole game was like scoring off of opportunities that Kawhi created for him. So I said, wait till the playoffs when they got to get a bucket and the game slow down and they throw the ball to Siakam. Let's wait and see what he do with that ball because he ain't gonna cross nobody. He ain't gonna post nobody up. And he ain't gonna dot nobody in the eye. Like he ain't gonna do none of those three things. So I was like, just wait.
Hey,
I've been waiting all year.
What award we gotta create for Kyle Lowry? But somebody needs to create some award for Kyle Lowry because dealing with that nigga, my God.
Speaking
of you ain't worry about no more.
Speaking of big man dribbling, have y'all seen like off-season highlights of Jerome Robinson from the Knicks? It's been bad. Like he's like 7 feet tall, but he's like been like posting dribble moves and dude like dribbles so high and so sloppy. I'm like,
Mitchell?
Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson. My bad. Yeah, Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
I've seen it. That's probably the worst tape that's ever been leaked by an NBA player I've ever seen because he did not look like an NBA player. No, everybody always looked better. Like even Andre Drummond, when I saw like a video of him in the summer like dribbling and then pulling up from three, he looked legit.
Hit them threes.
Yeah.
Mitchell Robinson tape,
he looked horrible.
But that's all I got, fellas. You guys have any closing thoughts for me?
And he know Tibbs ain't gonna be letting him dribble next season.
No, Tibbs ain't gonna let a lot of things.
Slave Master Tibbs.
Y'all have any albums on the horizon?
Slave Master Tibbs.
Forward to.
Do we have any albums that we're looking forward to? Actually, I was talking to Daniel the other day. There's something that's dropping like near my birthday, and I was like, "Wow, good projects always released near my birthday." What is it? Oh, Benny. Benny's releasing he's releasing an album at the end of this month. I'm looking forward to it. Around September 26th, I think. That's when it releases.
Young boy just dropped. Hadn't really listened to it, so I'm excited to finish that.
Yeah,
I got that pain music.
Yeah, it's all right. I listened to it this morning.
Damn.
All right. Was he screaming and shrieking?
Yeah, you already know what time it is.
3 songs of tape played.
I got to like around track 8 through 10. I was like, okay, this sounds fundamentally different than the rest of the album. I feel like Young Boy is kind of like Russell Westbrook. I'm saying this off limited listening to him, but off my first impression, he's kind of like Russell Westbrook, who has like one gear where he's like just like like he's like going full throttle. And when he decides not to take it there, I'm really intrigued. I'm like, okay, this is different, and like I'm actually like able to.
This is so much better.
Yeah, I'm able to sit back and like take and soak in what he's actually doing on a song. And then I feel like he kind of went back to like he kind of picked the pace and went like was going like hard, so to speak. And it kind of lost me until like towards the end. So it's a mixed bag for me. It's a mixed bag. But
man, he elite when he talking about shoot folks in the head.
Facts. Sorry. Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Pop of the Man podcast. We'll see you next week for another episode of your favorite podcast.